keep it going in 2012, guys. Right now, what I'd like to do is introduce you to your first speaker. Her name is Sandra Zimm.
Those of you who know me know that I don't usually endorse candidates. They tell you when you're running for office, that's a no-no, because anybody who doesn't agree with you won't vote for you when you run. And I have to tell you, that is the hardest thing to follow, because you always have candidates that you lean to. And this year, I found that in the case of this gentleman, I could not do that. I just could not. It was like a magnet. I can only tell you it was a magnet. And there were a lot of reasons for that, but the big issue, of course, I'm on the school board in Nashville. I also serve as the Hillsborough County Commissioner. And so when you carry those jobs, you get very involved in the details of that work, and especially on the Board of Ed, because that's our tomorrow. Those are our children. And so for me, the biggest heartache has been to see our public education system go where it's going. Unfortunately, it is not a good thing what you're seeing with our education system. And much of it is because we have these unfunded mandates, and they take so much of our money that we end up with 26, 25, 24 kids in one classroom with one teacher and no paraprofessional. In that classroom, I went to my granddaughter's classroom last year. This is a true story. And I went to do a reading thing, and they had a special education child. And please know I have the greatest empathy for anybody who has a special need. That could happen to anybody. I mean, sickness is not something you ask for. And so it is not that I don't have empathy, but I think you use common sense when you're when you're spending money. And they had this little special education boy who was talking to himself and walking around, and his arms flailing, and just distracting the classroom to where you could not pay attention to the teacher. I don't care who you were. Never mind a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old child trying to pay attention. And behind the child was a paraprofessional. So now you don't have one distraction, you have 2 distractions, and you have classes in the 20s, minimally. And to me, you do not penalize 25 for one. It's just not logical to me. That's just not common sense. And so every candidate I met, whether it was presidential, Senate, wherever it was, I always asked about education. I'm sure he'll share that with you. I was obnoxious with it, and I couldn't help myself. But I have to say that he was the only one, and I say that to you very honestly. He was the only one who gave me the answer I was looking for, because he was the only one who seemed to know about education. Too many of our politicians do not understand education. They do not know what's happening in our classrooms. Title I and special education eat up so much of our budget that we cannot do justice to the rest of our children. And 40–50% of them are not able to read. And reading is the basis for all learning. So with that loss, we will never compete globally until that becomes until it becomes a conversation that we as a nation are having, and it is not being talked about now. We have no hope to correct it if you don't even discuss it, if you bury it under the rug. I have great confidence that Ovide will not do that. I have, because I put him through the grill. and I don't know how else to say that to you. Every single time I saw him, I asked him again and again, and always got consistent answers. And so I have to tell you that it gave me a great respect for him, because I have to say to you that as a leader, on whatever level you serve, you're going to have to make hard decisions. And some of those decisions are going to be decisions that people don't like. They just are. But if you're going to be a leader, you have to do it. You still have to do it. And so I see that ability. I really believe this man will do it. I believe that he has a set of values that he will stick to. I believe that he has integrity. I believe he showed us that he knows how to lose. He knows how. Nobody wins all the time. But how many people do you know that walked away from it looking as good as he did? I mean, he looked like the winner. I have to tell you, it's it's very easy for me, even at the risk of political suicide, to support him because I feel because at some point in time you have to make those decisions. You have to say, I'm going to do what I think is right. I hope people who don't agree with me, I hope they'll understand. And I was thinking about this, the 80-20 rule, Reagan's famous 80-20 rule. I agree with that rule, but I also think there's another part to it. If you agree with me 80%, but the reason you're agreeing to it is for political reasons, is about your agenda, it's not about what's right or wrong, then it doesn't apply to me anymore. Because I see too many people who have an agenda that's all about me, my, I. I do not think that will be the case. I believe he will be a leader who will put others above self. And I believe that's what we need in this country more than anything else. So it is with great enthusiasm, and if I didn't come off that way, I was intended that way. I think you're wonderful. I love your wife. I think you're going to look great in the mansion.
So, Senator, the rest of us are just what, chopped liver? Actually, I'm going to do something here, and I want to remind you guys, you're amongst friends, and I mean that sincerely. If you were born, like me, if you were bred and born here in New Hampshire, be very proud. If you moved here, consider yourself very smart. But I'm going to do something because you're amongst friends, and I want you to go ahead and play along with me for a little bit. And I want you to remain standing as I ask you to do this. Right now, if you are a supporter of Rick Perry, go ahead and stand up. Go ahead and do that for me. And just remain standing, please. If you are a supporter of Newt Gingrich, go ahead and stand up. If you are a supporter of Mitt Romney, go ahead and stand up. And if you are a supporter of Rick Santorum, go ahead and stand up. And if you are a supporter of any other of the candidates on the ticket that I didn't mention, please go ahead and stand up. Ron Paul. Sorry about that. No, that wasn't intentional. I want you to look around. Tonight, every single presidential candidate is represented here in this room. And you came here for one reason: to unify behind and support a man we admire and respect, Ovide Lamontagne. Give yourselves a big round of applause. And go ahead and please take your seats. You guys did a wonderful job for the primary. New Hampshire should be very proud of itself, as it always should. We are the smartest voters in the country. No offense against Iowa, South Carolina, Florida, but we are truly, this is our Olympics, isn't it? Every 4 years, we carve up with pancakes and maple syrup in the morning, eat something really fatty during the afternoon, and go out and do our jobs. But it is our Special Olympics, and we should be very proud of it.
GrokTV.